Hey guys, welcome back again to another video that you guys were not expecting or thinking about. So guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about the total cost of moving to Switzerland in 2025. Total cost in Naira. So I'll calculate it in CHF, that's Switzerland currency, and then I'm going to convert it to Naira. So make sure you grab your paper, your pen, your notepad, your iPad, your anything sharp and everything, and listen attentively. So if you feel like there is anything that I missed out, I try my best to mention everything that I know you're going to spend money on. But just in case you feel like there's anything that I missed out and I did not mention, leave it in the comment section and I'll make an updated video. So let's say you're actually moving to Switzerland and then you are going on the study route. These are the, and another thing I want you guys to notice, as at when I'm making this video, I'm going to be using CHF equals 1,650 naira. So keep in mind that exchange rate can vary. Maybe when you are ready to go, it can increase or it can decrease. So keep that in mind for those fluctuations. Yeah, that's the word. So the first on my list is if you're actually applying for New Zealand to study. The first and most important thing that you're doing, once you send your document and everything, in my subsequent videos I'm going to upload step-by-step process how to apply to Switzerland, but this video is total cost. So I actually have a playlist for Switzerland. Click the link in my description box, you see all playlists. Scroll, you see Switzerland. So application fee can actually varies depending on the university. You can have like 100 to 250 CHF, and in Naira that's like 165,000 naira to 412,500. So the next on my list is transcript and document courier. So for Switzerland, you have to actually DHL your documents to them. So if you're actually sending from Nigeria, right, or from Africa, you should be able to budget like 50 to 150,000 naira, depending on where you are sending from. Maybe Lagos, whether Abuja, whether Ibadan, or maybe you're sending from Ghana. Just budget this, right? The next on my list is language proficiency. So in Switzerland, you can study English, German, French. Depending on your course, they can be mixed or distant. So even if you are studying English, this why Switzerland is actually a language country. They will ask you for IELTS. Or if you're studying German, they will ask you for Goethe. French, they will ask you for this thing, right? So English or French, they can ask you for language proficiency. And there are some schools that even if you're studying English, they can actually waive you off the English proficiency. If you are from a country like Nigeria, or if you've had your BSc, you can give them MOI. Or if in your WAEC you have a very good grade in your English, you can show it to them. Different options for you to show. So for the English test, if you are looking at IELTS, TOEFL, DEF, the cost can vary depending on the test location and this, but then just budget between 100,000 to 180,000 naira. But if you're studying in English and you tell them you're from Nigeria, or you use your MOI or you use your WAEC, of course, you know, say this money, pocket down. So just prepare just in case they ask you. The next on my list is visa processing stage, right? So for the visa fee, the type of visa you apply for is called what? Visa D. Budget like 90 euros, 0 to 165,000 naira. Yeah. The next on my list is visa application center fee. Just like I said, most of the Schengen countries you have to pass through VFS Global. So VFS Global, documentation, biometric, because you have to do biometric, and for you to do biometric you have to go through VFS Global and any other service share. So depending on VFS Global, Abuja or Lagos or anyone in France, a budget between 20,000 naira to 50,000 naira. So next on my list is medical exam, and depending on the hospital you are doing it. So for medical exam, budget between 30,000 naira to 80,000 naira. And in as much as we have medical exam for visa, there's some that your school can ask you to do. Actually, they can ask you more tests to do depending. The next on my list is proof of fund. This one, contrary to other Schengen countries that you have to do block fund, here you do not do block fund. You just have to show that you have enough funds cover for your tuition and living expenses. and is around CHF 1,200 to CHF 2,300 per month for living costs, right? And you have to have this in your account like to cover for 9 to 12 months. So that means your proof of fund is going to be CHF 1,200 times 12 or CHF 2,300 times 12. Depending on the country, the state you are going to. The next on my list is tuition fee. So there are some people that you have to pay, you get to your tuition fee stage before this one or after this one, depending on the university, if you have to pay, and depending on the visa requirement as at when you're actually making your application. So for the tuition fee, is ranges between CHF 500 to CHF 3,129 for public universities. For ETH, Zurich or EPFL, we're looking at 730 per semester, because in Switzerland they have different types of schools. They have the public schools, they have the EPFL. In my subsequent video I'll make that, but this one is just rough estimates, right? So let's just say tuition fee, we've talked about the range of tuition fee. So that means your tuition fee should be around 825,000 to 5 million naira ish, depending on the school you choose, depending on where you find yourself, right? That one is actually per semester. So of course per year, that's like times 2. So cost per year, that's like 1,000 CHF to CHF 6252, and in naira, that's we are looking at 1,650, 1.650 million naira to 10.325,700 naira. I'll be typing everything on the screen. So that's the range of your tuition fee, depending on the one you fall in. For your flight ticket, one way from Nigeria, let's say you're flying from Lagos, you'll be looking at between 1 million naira to 2.5 million naira to New Zealand. The next on my list is accommodation. The initial accommodation, you can decide to go for school accommodation, which I highly recommend as per first-time traveler and save expenses. But let's say, yeah, student housing can be around CHF 450 to CHF 800 per month. Private apartments are more expensive, right? And because those private apartments, they will tell you to pay like, they can tell you to pay 1 to 3 months rent in advance, then plus that month that you're staying. So it's going to take up a chunk of your own money, right? So let's say that you're staying in student housing 450, multiplying by 1,650, that's 742,500 for 1 month rent. But if a deposit is required, let's say you're staying outside, that's 742. So let's just budget, whether you're staying in student housing or you're staying in private accommodation, just budget 742,500 to 2.227,500. Next on my list is travel insurance. I've made several videos on how to get your travel insurance. If not seen it, I'll put in a link in my description box. You see JAPA document. Scroll through it, you see travel insurance. But travel insurance, you know the one they used to do for Schengen, that the travel insurance should be worth 30,000 euros. It does not mean that you should give them 30,000 euros, right? So travel insurance in Naira, and there are so many companies that actually sell Schengen travel insurance. You budget like 50 to 150,000 naira. The next on my list is miscellaneous on arrival or for food as per all this the registration that you do. So just budget like 200 to 500k, right? Then when you actually arrive, there's a mandatory Swiss health insurance that you want to do. You know, the one you bought is for you to travel and reach there. So when you get there, you do the one that is for Swiss Gongo, and this one costs between 100 CHF 100 to 200 CHF 200. So depending on the company you are using and everything, my subsequent video I'll come and tell you the best insurance for students, right? And make sure you be in communication with the international department of your school. Sometimes these schools, they used to have insurance that they actually maybe a company might be partnering with them for them to sell to their students, so you might actually get it for cheaper. So for the Swiss insurance, we are looking at CHF 100 to CHF 200 per month though for students. So in Naira, we are looking at 165,000 to 330,000 Naira per month. The next on my list is resident permit application fee. Of course, when you arrive, it costs around CHF 50 to CHF 100. So if you multiply it in Naira, we're looking at 82,500 to 165,000. The next on my list is public transport pass, and which is the best as a student, so that you don't spend so much money for public taking individual transport or taxing, right? We are looking at between CHF 70 to CHF 150 for monthly pass. And why is varies depending on the city you find yourself, depending on the location, depending on the area, right? But that's the range. So we are looking at between 115,500 to 247,500. The next on my list is initial groceries. Like if you just buy all those basic things, like you just arrive for you to eat for that time, budget like 200k to 400k. So utilities deposits. So depending on if you're staying in student house, your private accommodation, they can tell you to make a deposit for your utilities. So you should budget around 100 to 300k. So I'll try my best. I know it's stressful. I'll try my best to type everything on the screen, so that even when you're making your calculation, you can easily scroll back, scroll forward, and this thing. You guys see that I had to use my phone and be saying this from there too. So if you feel like after watching this there are some expenses that I left out, make sure to leave it in the comment section so I can make an update video. So if you watched it up to here, thank you guys so much for watching, and I see you guys in my next one. Bye for now.